Hi, I'm Natasha. Welcome to our community yoga class today. Today's class is going to be about a half-hour, very gentle beginner-style yoga. So even if you have never done yoga before in your life, I'd encourage you to join along. Now, the point of yoga is really to feel better after you've done it. So if you're injuring yourself on the way, it's not going to do you any favors. Sometimes it can help you in a pose to use some kind of props. Common yoga props that you'll see might be things like straps. This one has a little D-ring on there so you can close it up and hold your leg in place or something like that. If you don't have these fancy yoga props, don't worry. You can improvise. Sometimes I use things like a scarf. You could use a tie. You could try your dog's leash or something like that. Another very common prop that's helpful in a lot of poses is a yoga block. If you don't have yoga blocks, you can also improvise that. Here I've found a stack of nice books, and these can often be adjusted. You can stack up books to be the height that you need to support your arm, your leg, whatever. We're using blocks to help your body get in position. So get yourself set up. You also don't even need a yoga mat. I would recommend maybe it's more comfortable to have a towel or a blanket folded up to put under your knees. We'll be doing several postures where you are putting weight onto your knees in a kneeling sort of position. So get yourself set up and we'll start. Okay, so I want to do a little break and move this stuff out of the way. So we're going to start today's practice with a little bit of a seated meditation. A meditation is a great way to start settling into your body and into your practice. We're going to use, as a tool for this meditation, we're going to use some breath awareness. Now, a yoga term for this is pranayama. It's an exercise where you're really focusing on the flow of your breath. So let's start by closing your eyes. Find yourself in a comfortable seated position. You want your torso to be really well supported. You want to feel that the back of your neck is floating on top of your tailbone, so you have a nice tall spine here. Closing your eyes, drawing your focus really internally. Start paying attention to your breath. You might even find it helpful to actually place your hands on your low belly here. As you close your eyes, inhale deeply into that low belly. Maybe you can even sense that your fingertips are expanding a little bit as you inhale. And maybe as you exhale, you feel your fingertips coming a little closer together. For now, just observe what's going on. Don't try to change your breath. Just observe that you're inhaling and exhaling, and what are you feeling under your hands here as you have your hands on your belly. As you're exhaling, maybe start to bring some awareness to pulling your belly button a little bit closer to your spine. This is the beginnings of engaging your core muscles in a very supportive way. We want to make sure that your front body is helping to hold your posture. Great. So keep this slow, steady inhale and exhale. Let's move the hands now to your low rib cage. Maybe even feel around on your torso until you can feel some ribs in there. Placing your hands on your lowest rib cage. Stay with these long, deep inhales and exhales. Closing your eyes, making sure that you're very focused on what you're feeling inside. Maybe you can still get this sense of the fingertips expanding as you inhale and coming a little closer together as you exhale. Can you still keep that navel point pulling a little closer to your spine as you exhale? So we have the low belly expanding with the inhale. We have the low rib cage expanding with the inhale. As you exhale now, think about the rib cage coming closer together, the low belly is pulling in a little closer to the spine. Maybe on your next inhale, let's bring the hands up to your upper chest here. Maybe you can feel your collarbones So as you inhale now, we have 3 places to pay attention to. Start with the low belly. Inhale, that belly pops open like a balloon. The low rib cage expands wider, fuller. The upper rib cage rises a little bit. We're filling our lungs to their very fullest capacity. As you exhale now, pay attention to the top rib cage. See if you can feel that that's actually lowering down as you exhale. The low rib cage maybe contracts a little bit as you empty your lungs. Low belly, this belly button pulls a little closer into your spine. So this is a very common yoga breath. It's called a dirgha breath. 3 parts. So let's take a couple more very full breaths. Low belly fills up, low rib cage, upper rib cage. On the exhale, we're reversing this attention. So we're paying attention to emptying the top rib cage, the low rib cage, the low belly. Take a couple more of these very full breaths on your own. We're settling in to our body, to this very precious present moment here. On our next exhale, we're going to start bringing some movement to join this breath. So give yourself a very full dirgha style inhale, belly, ribs, upper ribs. And on the exhale, dropping your chin down to your chest. Now your hands can be folded in your lap or resting on your knees, something where you're not thinking about where they are. You don't need to fidget. So dropping the head down towards your collarbone here. Next, inhale, we're going to bring the chin over to the left shoulder. Now I'm going to be mirroring you. So as we exhale, drawing the chin back down to the center, inhale, the chin comes over towards the right shoulder. Follow your own breath here as we loosen up the back of the neck. And the next time, and go at your own pace always, if you're moving a little faster, a little slower than I am, feel free to follow your own pacing. You're always paying attention to what your body would like to do. Maybe you want to make fuller circles with your neck. Next time that your head is coming over to the left side, let it really drop down there. We're going to inhale, bring the left hand up. It's going to rest along the side of your head here. For a couple of breaths, we're just going to let this settle. Feel the weight of your head really pulling over towards that left shoulder. You maybe want to explore some movement here. Maybe drawing your gaze downwards, drawing your gaze upwards. We have a lot of very delicate little muscles along the side of the neck here. So this is a very gentle way to open those up. Next, inhale. Let's release that left hand. Bring your head back up. Drop it down towards your sternum again. And inhale, the head comes over to the right shoulder. I'm going to bring the right hand up and just way down this side of the head. So just a couple of breaths holding the neck in this position, maybe small movements. Maybe rocking the head a little forward, a little backwards, maybe drawing your gaze a little up, a little down. You explore what your range of motion is here. But we're letting this hand bring some extra weight to the head, opening up this side of the neck here. And let's exhale, release that side. Next, inhale. We're going to draw both arms up overhead, a nice big dirgha breath. Exhale, palms are going to turn down towards the earth. Exhale, the hands lower on down. Inhale, sweep the energy up. We're drawing energy up from the earth. Exhaling, grounding ourselves right back into it. Let's do one more of these. Inhale, circle up. Exhale, draw that energy down. Now we're going to find a way to transition, placing your hands here on the ground and coming onto your knees. Now again, I've learned about my body that I really like to have something underneath my knees here. So I like to have a blanket under there. It makes it a lot more comfortable. We're going to start warming up the spine here. Just any free movement that feels good to you. Maybe some circles or figure eights or just random wiggles back here. I personally really like to warm up with big circles here in the hips. And remembering to change directions. So we're mobilizing the entire spine here as we do this. And not just the spine. If you can also be aware of what else is going on in your body, maybe even your wrists, your fingertips, your neck, your toes, all the other parts of your body, you're starting to awaken with this very gentle movement. So finding ourselves into a table position, in a tabletop position, you want to check out that your wrists are directly underneath your shoulders. Your knees are directly underneath your hips here. We want your body to be supported as much as possible by the bones, by the skeletal structure. As we inhale now, we're going to start with the lowest spine. So with your tailbone, we're going to inhale, lift that tailbone up. You're going to arch, the middle spine comes down, the head comes up very, very last. As we exhale, again, we're starting this movement with the tailbone. The tailbone scoops down, the middle spine rolls up, the head drops down last. Inhaling, drawing the tailbone up. I'm calling this pose cat. And as we exhale, dropping the tailbone down, rising through the thoracic spine, dropping the head last. I'm calling this posture cat tuck. Inhaling, the tailbone comes up, middle spine down, the head rolls up. Exhale, rolling into your cat tuck. Different yoga styles call these poses all sorts of different things. Next, inhale, coming into our cat pose. This time, turning the toes under, I'm going to set up for down dog. As I exhale, I'm lifting my tailbone up towards the sky here, and coming into a down dog. I'm not going to sustain it just yet. I'm going to inhale, bring my knees back down to the earth. Exhale. This might be your favorite pose of the entire series. Rolling yourself down, rolling through the spine to come into a child's pose. And I'm going to keep talking to you, so I'm not going to keep my head down. But a proper child's pose, you are bringing your head as close as you can down to your mat. Now, if your head doesn't reach the mat, you can find it a lot more restful, maybe to put a block underneath your forehead. If we're in child's pose for a while, you might want to put a block underneath your sit bones if you're not reaching your heels here. While we are in child's pose, I want you to take your hands here in front of you, extend them out, lift your head up for a moment here. To see what you're doing, we're going to cross our arms here. And what we're doing is measuring the distance because of our body dynamics here. As we cross our arms and grab a hold of your upper arm, that's going to assure that when you bring your arms in front of you again, you have a shoulder width. We want these elbows to be about this far away. We want the wrists to be right below the elbows. Check out your fingers here. Is your middle finger facing directly front? Spread your fingers wide here. We want giant jazz hands here. Lift your inner wrist here. We're prepping for a good supported down dog posture. All right, so now we have our hands in a good position. Let's inhale, roll up to a cat spine again. Let's just do one exhale through a cat tuck because it feels good. Inhaling to cat spine, turning the toes under. We'll exhale, lifting up into down dog. So here we're going to hold this for a couple of breaths and just take a look at your arms again. One really common thing that we see a lot of bodies do this, where you're hyper extending the elbow, where the elbow really pushes forward like this. I happen to have very flexible elbow joints, so I really have to pay attention that I'm putting a little bit, maybe even think about a micro bend in your elbows. You want to protect those joints so you're not putting too much pressure on them. So from our down dog, we're going to take little teeny steps. And as we're stepping, we're really going to be bending one knee at a time. Really bend the knee, let the hips really sink in. And I'm going to take little steps towards the front of my mat, eventually landing with my feet, with my hands just outside my feet here. You can always keep a little bend to your knees here. A forward fold, we're really focusing on letting your torso release. So we're trying to let go of all of the tension in your upper body. And as you're ready, drawing an inhale, roll up through your spine. Let's continue the upward movement by drawing the hands up as well. Exhale, we'll press the palms down the center line, grounding your energy. Now I'm going to take a moment here to move my blanket out of the way. We're going to do a couple of standing postures and it's just going to get in the way. So coming to the front of your mat again, let's take a look at what our feet are doing. We want the feet to be placed directly underneath the hips. So if you can sort of look at your own body here, examine where your hips are. Your knees are underneath the hips. Your ankles are directly underneath the hips. We want a strong, supported standing base here. Let's start by lifting up the toes. This is going to help us wake up the base of the feet here and use our feet as a good support system. Lifting up all 10 toes here. Rock a little side to side, a little forward and back until you can sense that you're really balanced on the center of your foot. Now lower your toes, and we're going to play a little game with our toes here, dropping your big toe into the ground, pressing through the mound of the big toe here, through the ball of the foot. And then see, and a lot of this is going to be imaginary too, imagine that you can drop one toe at a time from the big toe side out towards the pinky toe side. It's almost impossible to do it, but it's a fun mental game to play and it engages your muscles. So we have our Tadasana pose here. We're going to inhale, sweep the arms up. Exhale, float yourself down. And again in a forward fold. Don't get stuck in this idea that you can't touch your toes. It doesn't matter. What we're going to do is just release the torso. If you want to bring some bend into your knees, no problem. You do that. You can also be up here. Don't get your ego in the way of a good stretch for your body. So eventually, bringing your hands down next to your feet, we're going to bring the left foot back. Again, I'm mirroring you here at home. So we're going to bring the left foot back. Now this is a high lunge posture. Some of us can't step terribly wide. You just take that left foot back as far as you can take it. The thing that you do want to look for is that your front knee, wherever your angle is, your knee ends up directly above your ankle. We want that bone-to-bone support. You don't want that knee floating around in space. So just take a moment to check that, whatever the bend in your knee is. So we're going to be in our high lunge pose. Keep that left heel spinning up towards the sky. On your next inhale, draw the torso up. Lift the arms up here. And as we exhale, we'll roll right back down. Next inhale, so we're going to plant the palms down on the ground. And again, if you can't reach the ground, bring a prop. If you have yoga blocks, or if you want to improvise with a stack of books or some other prop to raise your hands up. We want the palms to be pressing down to take the weight, and we're going to bring that right leg back. Now I'm going to hover here for just a breath in a plank pose. This is just a strength builder. And I'm going to drop my knees. Inhale, a really delightful cat spine here. And as I exhale, rolling on back to child's pose. And while I'm here in child's pose, I'm going to roll my wrists, loosen my hands, loosen those wrist joints a little bit, because as I inhale next, I'm coming through cat pose. I'm going to roll that tailbone down, coming into a cat tuck spine. Inhale, cat. Roll the toes under. Exhale, lift up into downward dog. My wrists are nice and engaged here to protect the wrist joint. Now I'm going to take that left leg, I'm going to inhale, lift it up into an extended down dog. Now don't get your ego caught up here. If your leg comes 2 inches off the ground, that's absolutely fine. You're training your body to engage the core muscles here. We're going to inhale, bringing the left knee underneath you. Now you might not be able to do this lunge in one movement. That's fine. You start your foot wherever it lands and sneak it up there. Eventually it'll find its place back in a high lunge. We're going to inhale, bring the weight forward onto this left leg, straightening the leg. Your right foot can hover behind you. Again, this is a great place to bring blocks. You might want to put blocks underneath your hands as we come into this standing balance. You can hold this as long as you'd like. I'm going to drop this right foot down here. I'm in a forward fold. Maybe it feels good to keep some yoga blocks underneath your hands here, if that helps your torso to relax. We're also looking for the hamstrings to get a little stretched out here as we're in a forward fold. Inhale, sweeping the arms up. Let's do a slight variation here. We're going to interlace the fingers, press the palms up towards the ceiling. Maybe even giving yourself a little bit of a back bend here. And exhaling. Let's do the proper yoga salute here, bringing the palms together, hands coming to heart center. I tell my students sometimes that these little yoga mudras are the only thing that separate us from the athletes. And bringing your hands down to the side. Give your body a shake if it feels like you need to even anything out. Let's start again on the ground, pulling all 10 toes up, grounding yourself through the ball of the foot, the little toe side of the foot, but your toes are up here. You're engaging the base of the foot. Let's try our little toe game again this time. We're going to start from the outer edge of the foot, place the pinky down, and see if you can lower one toe at a time to get to your big toe. Just a little fun you can do with those feet. Engaging your nice tall Tadasana pose. Inhaling, the arms come up. Exhale, we're going to sweep down into a forward fold. And again, it's fine if you want to keep a block here ready to fold onto. That's perfectly fine. We're going to take the right leg now. So right leg is going to step back into a high lunge, wherever your lunge is. You don't have to overdo it here to prove a point. And next, inhale, we're going to draw the torso up. Bring those arms up. Continues this line of energy. Exhale, roll back down through the spine. Placing your hands either on your mat or again, you can use the blocks. You're going to bring that left foot back. I'm hovering here in plank pose. Even if you can't see what you're doing, you're imagining that you have a straight line between your heels through the crown of your head. And then I'm going to inhale, drop my knees, come into cat pose. Exhale, roll it on down through child's pose. You can take an extra breath here if you feel like you want, if you want to break. Lifting up those hands, rolling through the wrists. Want to relax the arms and the wrists. Inhaling, coming back up through our cat pose. Let's exhale one cat tuck spine just because it feels good. Letting the back arch upwards, inhaling through a cat spine, turning the toes under. Exhale, come into our down dog. I'm going to pick up now the right leg. And again, if it comes 2 inches off the ground, that's fine. You're training your core muscles to be able to support that leg lifting upwards. Next, inhale. I'm going to pull that right knee underneath. I'm rocking a little forward in my shoulder joint. Maybe I can put my foot down here and wiggle its way up between my hands again. Maybe I can make it all in one step. My next inhale, I'm going to put all my weight onto this right standing leg. Slowly straighten that standing leg. and find a balance here. This left leg is going to lift up behind me. And again, I can always put blocks underneath the hands. I'm going to drop now. My left foot coming back down into a forward fold. I'm going to take one breath here to really release. Let the torso hang down. I'm going to rock my head side to side, up and down. Inhaling, standing up, rolling through your spine. Let's bring these fingertips up. This time we're going to interlace the fingers again, but make sure to do the opposite way. We all have little habits in our body, and yoga is a great way to switch those up. So pressing the palms up towards the sky, a little bit of a back bend here. I'm going to switch my hands to this prayer mudra. Exhaling, drawing the hands down to heart center. I'm going to take a breath here to focus my energy, steady myself, and releasing that. I'm going to bring the sit bones down to earth, returning to our seated position. For me, a comfortable seated position is cross-legged, and I'm going to return my attention to my breathing. Hi, I'm Natasha. Thank you so much for joining us for yoga.
You're watching ACMI Studio Nights!
Woo!